I thought I heard the old man say, "Leave her, Johnny, leave her. Tomorrow ye will get your pay, and it's time for us to leave her. Leave her, Johnny."
I got into Gemstone as a kid because I was a nerdy outcast who loved role-playing games. I remember logging into AOL, the whole screeching dial-up thing, and then the "You've got mail," and seeing this fantasy-looking game pop up as an ad on my front page. It's also kind of crazy, just as an aside, to think about the fact that hundreds of thousands, or even maybe millions of people have seen an ad for Gemstone at some point in their formative internet years, and have that memory buried somewhere in their brains. But anyway, I clicked that ad, and I started playing. And I kept playing because it was fun to roleplay. It was fun to pretend to be a brave, strong warrior and to heroically throw open the graveyard gate for a waiting group, hoping to enter from the outside, or to be a magical wizard casting spells at all the angry, rabid squirrels in the kobold village. And it's still fun to roleplay. It's gotten a lot easier in many ways. But I'd argue that a core part of the thing that keeps players in Gemstone is not roleplaying, but items. There's the draw of wanting to take your beloved pet project piece one step further. Enchant it a little higher, add some more weighting, add some flares, get it scripted, whatever. It can always be better. And I still remember my first beloved item, by the way. It was a lance that my cleric, yes, my cleric, used to hunt the undead, and it had a terrible altar that I still have in my locker. It's a slender black elven forged lance inlaid with an intricate network of reflective twisting silver veins. I didn't think there was a cooler item on the planet. In the entire universe, I had achieved the epitome of cool with that lance, and it was just a 4X vanilla lance, but to me, it was perfect. Well, luckily, my taste has changed a bit since then, and Gemstone's items have grown up as well. There's an absurd quantity of cool stuff that you can get your hands on these days that would have made my AOL Gemstone self absolutely shake with envy. Today's guest, SGM Retzer, has had a hand in a bunch of them. He's actually had his hands in all kinds of different projects, some of them really obvious and prominent, some of them really popular, some of them basically unknown, and some, as you'll hear, that are going to cause quite a splash. He'll be talking with us today about his background and the work he does as a member of the system support team. So, grab a line and get ready to set sail, and welcome to the 13th episode of Town Square Central. Joining us on the show today is GM Retzer, who's here to talk with us about his work in Gemstone as the senior game master for the systems support team. So, Retzer, welcome to Town Square Central.
Thanks.
All right, let's jump right in with your background. So, what is it that you do for work?
So, right now I work as an acquisition engineer. I lead a team of engineers for a publicly traded company, Big Pop, and they go out and they buy out all the mom and pop shops. And me and my guys just have to assimilate, integrate, and pull them from top to bottom IT. So data, infrastructure, equipment, everything you can imagine.
I understood like 8% of the words you just said, but it sounds like a cool job.
Yeah, it's good. A lot of travel right now, so it's like 30 to 40% of my month. Well, not right now.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably not.
We're kind of grounded right now.
Yeah. What part of the world do you live in?
I'm down in San Diego.
Oh, beautiful San Diego.
Yeah, I have a Bengal kitty and another little, like, just run-of-the-mill mutt kind of cat, feral cat. And then I have a 5.5-year-old daughter.
I like that you listed the cats first.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
I've had them longer.
Yeah.
Order of precedence.
We had 2 Bengals growing up. Those are crazy cats. They're cool. They're very, they're very strong and smart. That's what I remember.
And loud.
I don't remember loud. And then other than Gemstone, what do you like to do in your spare time?
I'm a big family guy, so I spend a lot of time with my daughter and wife. And then gym, a lot of gym time. Also, video games is a large portion of my life, obviously.
What games do you like to play?
Where do I start on this one? I have probably played everything under the sun at one point, right? It's when you get a little bit older, you have a little bit more money, there's no more limiting factor, you buy everything, you play it for an hour, and then you don't play it ever again. Yep. You know, it's like that Steam curse.
Oh yeah,
there's a sale.
You buy it to have it, and then you're like, I don't want to play this game I just bought.
Yeah, but right now I'm playing a lot of Escape from Tarkov. It's like a first-person shooter with hardcore milsim kind of thing.
Yeah, people are all about how realistic that is, right?
Right, yeah. Then I'll jump into like a MOBA now and then, like Heroes of the Storm. I dropped out of League for a long time, so I don't know. What am I playing right now? My daughter just picked up Animal Crossing, so I'm playing that with her, you know?
Yeah. Yep.
Good stuff there. Blizzard products, any of them, Diablo 3 or, World of Warcraft, maybe. I don't know if I can really stomach the next expansion. I've just been disappointed so many times, but I keep going back to that abusive relationship. I don't know.
So you're just like an omni gamer, right? Like whatever comes your way, you're going to go for it.
Yeah, it depends on what all my buddies are playing,
Yeah.
Just whatever.
What is one TV show or movie or game that you think everybody in the world should experience in their lives?
Untitled Goose Game is probably up there as something everyone really needs to experience.
So I have meant to play that. That's where you just play a really kind of an asshole goose that bothers people, right?
Yep, you're just an asshole, and you just run around being an asshole, and it's great.
When did you first start playing Gemstone?
Oh, it was on AOL in like 1996, I want to say. I was just a young pup. It's like when it was, you still had to pay for the phone line, per minute when you're dialing in.
Oh, I know.
To get on. Oh man, I remember my dad coming at me with just fire. What is this $300 phone bill?
Yeah. And then you just had to be like, I have no idea, Dad.
Weird. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I got scammed. Maybe you did it, Dad. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe it's you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then, so that's about the time when I started. I started up as a warrior. I had no idea what I was doing. I tried to role play. I was really bad at it.
Yeah.
But I was enthusiastic, so I hope it made up for it.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think is the best part about playing Gemstone?
For me, it is something I can do that's not completely involved. Like when you're doing it, before I started GMing, by the way, because I don't really get to play anymore. And then, so I could be at work, I could be on a conference call, I can go out on a quick hunt and then just be lazy for 15, 20 minutes. It was the best, and I'm still progressing and like feeding into my ADD.
And now, if you had the power to Thanos snap any single change into the game without any consideration of like repercussions or what other people would think about it, what would you do?
Well, isn't Thanos known for snapping away things, not in?
Well,
can we go that way, or do we have to go the other way?
Yeah, sure.
I want to just delete paladins, just gone.
Wow. All right, why?
Because I had a warrior, I converted it to paladin, and I still regret it to this day.
Oh man, that is that's an actual Thanos response to that, right? That's an evil thing to do.
Exactly. Yeah. Really I actually like the paladin class a lot, and I think it's cool.
No, but don't backpedal. I betrayed
myself.
Lean into it, man. All right, let's get into your story here about becoming a GM. What was that process like? Like, when did you start to want to be one? And then let me rephrase that. That was terrible. So how did you originally become a game master? Tell us about your original desire to be one and what that process of becoming one was like.
Well, it all started with me breaking a lot of stuff and intentionally doing things I probably shouldn't be doing.
Like what?
If something shouldn't be moved around, I would drag it around, right? Yeah, just stupid little things. And I would try to break things just to break things, like most people do, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's a group of people that do that for sure, yeah.
So I did that a couple times, and I started talking to some people, and my background's all in computer information science, like programming. And so a couple friends that I had that played the game came out to me that they were game masters, and they said, you should apply it. You have a lot of skills. You should totally get into this. And I'm like, oh, all right, let's get into this. So I applied, and yeah.
How long ago was that?
5.5 years, about.
Okay.
6.
And what's it like being a GM for you?
The embodiment of depression, probably.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's real dark.
Elaborate on that.
Well, on a serious note, it can be fun. It's great when you can just, for lack of better terms, flex your creativity. It's a creative outlet for me, so I can go in and just, go off the cuff and create stuff and have fun. There's good and bad with everything. Like if I can't go in and within reason do something crazy or a big change and without any repercussion, right? You have to there's a lot of red tape, I should say.
Yeah.
And you got to make sure you follow that red tape, and it's there for a reason. But sometimes, man, I just want to triple experience rates permanently, just woo, let's do it.
I will humbly accept the role of being the guinea pig for that. Go ahead and push the little button or whatever you got to do to make that happen. Now, I've talked to a number of development GMs and some subscriptions GMs before, but I've never talked to anybody on the system support team. So tell us how that work is different from other kinds of GM work.
So when I first got hired on as a GM, I originally applied for a subscriptions team, and then I got moved from subscriptions to systems, and that was I didn't do much there. I was like in training, right? I was trying to pass through their coding language and all that, and then it kind of it fell flat. So I moved back to subscriptions, and that's when I became like an Ice Mule GM. So just his history back there, right? So moving forward, we recreated a systems team, and I got put on it. And really, it's just like trying to fix stuff. My biggest focus for like the last year was box office. Before that, it was like player shops. So it's just a lot of stuff, a lot of finicky stuff. We were updating old systems, which is one of my least favorite things. So it's weird that I am a systems GM, right?
Yeah.
But I like creating new systems. It's a lot more fun to move forward than it is to go back and put Band-Aids on shit.
Yeah, but at a certain point, someone's got to go fix the broken thing that's slowing everybody down, right?
Yeah, that's where you start going into like triage, the severity and everything like that.
Yeah, like, is this old thing so bad that I need to deal with it before I make the new fun thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I understand that one of your early projects was making beer pong a thing in Gemstone, which I did not know that was a thing, so tell us about that.
So, I think it's called Captain's Chalice or something like that, and people dubbed it the Captain's Balls, of course.
Yep, because people are 12. Mature.
Yep, exactly. It was my first like game I coded. I think it was my second coding project, maybe third, and I made it for an airship for an NPC that I was running. The last time I was out was actually last Briarmoon Cove, and I'd have like a tournament plaque in there, and it was coded so poorly because it was my very first thing. I didn't know how to do anything, so you just like brute force try to make it work. Finally made it work, and I'm like, oh, we finished. We're done. Yeah. I don't need to do it. So I haven't gone back and like tried to fix it ever, and I really need to do that before I re-release it and let anyone use it again.
Yeah, well, Briarmoon Cove is coming up at some point soon, so I'm expecting that Captain's Chalice will make a reappearance there.
Right.
Yeah. Now, when you are choosing these projects that you do, because you get involved in, I think, more work than anybody I've talked with yet. How do you get involved with those projects? Is it you making a decision, or is it someone else telling you, hey, go work on this? Like, how does that work?
I would say a lot of it's self-motivated, like my own reasoning, my own jurisdiction on what I need to be working on. But a lot of it does come, or not a lot, but some of it does come from the top down, right? Like example, the box office and the quests. Going through that, it's something that had to be done. It wasn't necessarily my choice, but it's something I have the skill set to do, so I did it. Or like player shops, right? So that was something like where I just wanted to be the hero that everyone deserved.
Yeah, right. You didn't
wake up. I regret that decision so much.
You didn't wake up one day as like a bright-eyed 8-year-old kid and go, one day I'm going to be the player shop guy. You were just like, someone needs to do this, and it might as well be me.
Yeah, there's still so much stuff that needs to be done on it, but it's like, with projects here, there's a lot of burnout, right? So, and I thrive when I'm on the edge of burnout, like just teetering there between burnout and productivity.
Yeah.
So that's a very difficult state to be in mentally.
Yeah, you can't carry that load too long.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So with like some like player shops, I'll go hard for like a month or two, and then I would just like go like dormant for 30 days, like off the grid, and then come back in, hit it hard.
Right. Well, and so speaking of that, my question is, how involved, given that you go through these periods of like really intense work and then like hiding in your little hermit hole, how involved are you with other folks on the GM team and on the Cimitronic side of things?
I'm pretty present. I talk to a lot of people. I'm really just a troll, like
Yeah.
through and through. I'm a troll, so I really enjoy being the heckler of the group. You can ask just about anyone. All I do is just make random comments that are generally inappropriate a lot of the time. So that's me being present and with everyone else. I feel I'm really there for them.
That's how you get marked, like, present for meetings and whatnot.
Yeah. It's
you
like
annoy people.
Teacher going through the list, and they hit my name, and there I am.
So you're the kid that when everyone else, like, they're going here, 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 you like make a loud farting noise with your mouth. That was you in like 6th grade.
100%. That was me.
Okay, good. I'm glad we figured that out. All right, now let's start talking about some of the actual work that you've done. And I wanted to start with something that is, I would say, a huge part of the game at this point, and also something that I have very little experience with, and that's Ream, which you designed and built, and it's sort of a daily dungeon crawl instance that's packed with all these undead monsters. So tell us why and how you built Ream.
So one of my favorite things about Gemstone is you see the letters, you pronounce it differently than I pronounce it differently than someone else pronounces it differently.
Oh no!
Which is great, because well, most people call it rhyme.
No one calls it rhyme.
Or some people call it ream, right? Because it's more inappropriate, and I got to go with that one. But I think most people call it rhyme at this point.
Wait, do they really? How do you?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. It's ream for sure, but continue.
So it started as I wanted to add in something akin to like a heroic dungeon in World of Warcraft or any of these popular MMOs.
Yeah.
And it just wanted something where people can go in as a group. There's progression involved. You try to make your way through it, and you get to the end. There's a boss fight, and you get some loot, and you get out. So that was the whole premise of it. And then it was just like this crazy learning experience from top to bottom, me having to go to a lot of different people to figure out how to do things, right? Because there's no like Bible on the coding language here. It's more like you learn by doing, right? You learn by practicing, and then you get quality control check, and you kind of go on from there. It was my first big project. It was a huge undertaking, and I think it took me close to a year to finish or something like that. I went hard on that, man. Like it was a lot of work.
And what niche do you feel like Ream fills that wasn't filled before it existed?
My hope was it was going to be like I created like a looking for group tool. I thought it was going to be like this grouping mechanism, which people do use it for grouping, but for different purposes primarily. Like I'd like to see it be more popular in that sense.
Yeah.
For right now, there's some big groups that run it, and then there's a couple solo people. Feel it helps with this undead gap, the mysterious undead gap that people talk about is one of the biggest draws to it, and it's accessible from anywhere, which is awesome. That was really cool. It was really cool that we could get that done.
And you could also get some cool gear and loot and whatnot for working through Ream, right?
Yeah. So it's like incidental loot. Really, it's not comparable to Duscrin, where I'm paying and then I get this blood script and I go spend that blood script. It's something where it had to be balanced around somebody's going through it and they're potentially doing it for free, even if you can buy additional entries, right? So I wish we could have balanced it differently, but it is what it is at this point.
Yeah. And what kind of players do you think are drawn to Ream?
I think the main people right now are the larger groups, and then anyone that just wants to try something new and get in the undead gap.
I understand you also built Ream Fortress Defense, which I'd literally never heard of before talking with you about this call. And it sounds like, from the description on the wiki, a combination of a tower defense game and the Duscruin Arena, which feels very different from normal Ream, which is more of a dungeon crawl. So how did Ream Fortress Defense come from, or where did it come from, and how is it actually different?
So the whole concept there from start was Rime was created to do or fill the void of having like an instance dungeon that you can go through start to finish. It takes about an hour, right? The Rime Fortress Defense I designed around something faster paced and shorter. So it's like I think it's like 20 to 30 minutes to get through it, right? Of course, the rewards are less, and that's a big reason why I don't think a lot of people do it. I wish more people did do it because I think it's awesome. It's a lot of fun because it's just like you're in a little fort and you can spread out 4 different ways and you have monsters just coming in through the gates. I created like hot oil traps or whatever they are, like barriers you can deploy to try to block the monsters. And there's like a heart or a crystal at the center that all the monsters' goal is to reach that and break it. So you have to defend that.
Yeah. Now, I know you best for all the cool stuff that you've created over the years, all the items that you've worked on. And I know that you cut your teeth in item creation working on the Wounded Ware at the 2015 Ebons Gate. And you literally this past weekend, like a few days ago, released the cool new campfire stuff that lets you fight off the cold outside of Ice Mule.
Right.
But I think that you're best known for designing some of the Duskruin All-Stars and all the unique and flavorful weapons that you've come up with over the years. So you've created parasitic weapons, which are my personal favorite and I think are amazing and hugely underrated. Sprite weapons and energy weapons and the new 2-weapon combat weapons that just came out in this last run. So what's your general approach with this huge resume of all this cool stuff? What's your general approach to building and designing new items?
I start with a simple like core concept, and then I build from it because it's my creative outlet, right? So I will take one idea like, wouldn't it be cool if I could turn my arm into a tentacle, like an octopus, whatever it may be, and then wouldn't it be cool if I also did this and this and this and this, and then before you know it, I have like a concept built out and kind of go from there and just keep building on it and building on it, and the long as I stay focused on it, I can usually get it out pretty quick. Like Parasites, I was like just thinking about like I think what game is that? Prototype, I think it was the one where you could like turn your arm into like different.
Oh yeah.
So it's like that, and then my favorite like villain, anti-villain, whatever you want to call him, chaotic neutral guy, Venom, right? He's like just my favorite, hands down. So just the whole concept of a symbiote and a parasite is just it's cool to me. And then the sprite thing was, it kind of just started with me always wanting to have Navi, the sprite from like Zelda. Yeah, just saying, hey, listen.
Yeah, hey, listen.
I pretty much had it say that in one of the ambients, so that was fun.
That's pretty good. Yeah. And then in the sprite, so the parasitic weapons use your blood to enhance your abilities. Sprite weapons use your mana. And then the energy rune staves were a new one, right? And that's basically... I haven't used one of these, but it sounds like you just store up energy and then you like flip it over and literally blast like a laser cannon at your target.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
So the main concept there was, all right, so you buy or what's the word I'm looking for here? You build up your affinity with a weapon, you bond to it.
Yep.
And with the energy weapons, the whole idea was, hey, what if we can make it go even stronger, right? So rather than saying, all right, we're going to hit it for like plus 10, it's going to go to plus 20, just random numbers there, no realism to it. And I like the concept we put in there where it's like, I say we, but it was me.
The royal we. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So you add in like the description on the character when they activate the armor effect on them, like just little things like that are like some of the best parts about any item design to me.
Yeah. And then the most recent release was the 2-weapon combat stuff, which I looked at that wiki page and like the analyze on one of those things, and it was so intimidatingly long that I had to stop. So give us a summary of what those are and where that came from.
It all started with I just love 2-weapon combat in Gemstone in general. So I just wanted to put something out there that was fun. And the original concept was a little bit different. It was something more like you have synergistic effect between, like, let's say you're swinging a lightning sword and a water sword. You hit it, it applies a water effect. Then you hit it with the lightning, it's going to supercharge the lightning, right? That's what it started with. And then like when I kind of started going through it, I couldn't quite get that concept to stick. So then I switched it over to, instead, you're just building up counters, just straight up attrition based combat where right hand hits, left hand hits, there's 2, right? You build it up. But the problem there is, it's only going to really be effective on like a boss mob, right? Or something with a lot of health that can to weather that kind of storm, unless you're activating the increased rate or just lunging with the weapon. So yeah, I mean, just everything about it, I was just trying to give 2-weapon combat a little bit more love. I think the splitter is probably the most popular and probably arguably better because you only have to alter and mess with the one, right?
Yeah.
But getting that's thing. I don't want to take what somebody else did. So we just kind of went with something different.
Yeah. Well, and I know that they were, all of these I think have been really well received and people really like them. But of all the ones that you have designed, what's your personal favorite?
Ooh.
You have to pick. This is Sophie's choice with, Duskruin items.
Okay, we're gonna go in the Wayback Machine, and we're gonna go back to my first auction level item. That is the ethereal weapon tattoos.
Ah, yep.
Those are probably my favorite just for thematic reasons alone. Being able to like reach inside of a tattoo and draw out this powerful weapon or whatever, subjectively powerful. I know it's probably not to most people, but just the whole concept around it, everything around it, I loved how it turned out. I think it's really cool.
And you can still get those through if you grind Ream for long enough, right?
Yeah, that's right. I'd love to re-release them somehow, add on stuff to. I mean, like any of these projects, I'd love to do more for them and add to them. It's just, do you add on another tier or two to this weapon, or do you make a whole new thing that could capture another 10% of the player base's interest and make them happy too?
Yeah. Well, the right answer to that question is that you add on to the things that I am enthusiastic about, and that's the right answer. That's what you should do.
Well, like, not to tease anything, but I'm throwing around the idea of doing a parasite and sprite kind of based armor system where it's going to be built somewhat off of the weapons. I'd love to do like a set type bonus like you see in a lot of other games.
Yep.
So if you have like the parasite weapon, parasite armor, or sprite weapon and sprite armor, you could potentially have like, double the bonus on something, just throwing things out there. Right. But I'm still working on the concept there because I'd like it to the same symbiote be able to populate the other item.
Yeah, I approve of this project, and I wholeheartedly encourage you to pursue it.
Like let's say instead of a host item, your host item shifts into actually being the armor, and then you draw from the armor to create the actual weapons. Like that would be cool, right? Because then you're not taking up, some random functional item slot.
Yeah, no, that sounds amazing, and you should drop the other stuff you're doing and work on that. I approve of that.
Right.
All right. And then you just kind of gave us a little teaser there, but any spoilers for any other new gear you're thinking about unveiling at the new Duskruin run in August?
That's probably what I'm going to be working on for this next Duskruin. I'm thinking I have like 4 or 5 projects like that I've drafted up on a concept level that I would love to implement. It's just picking which one because you're limited time, right? I can only develop so many different things at once.
Yeah.
One of the other things I'd really like to do is create a build your own armor or weapon system kind of thing where I can have like a base armor piece and then just like attach, greaves to it or something and like create like different suits of armor and have different qualities of that and just, like almost like a collection based set for weapons and armor.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's like one of the concepts I have drafted up. I'd love to finish, but
Yeah, but we have to keep you on the healthy side of the balance between like frenetic energy and burnout. So we don't want to push you too far to burnout.
Right.
Now you mentioned earlier that you got your start in the game working in subscriptions, and you worked on as the Ice Mule Guru, which took me by surprise because I don't think of your work as being that kind of work. So talk about what that role entailed and what that work was like.
So I was only the guru for probably 2 weeks. No, and it might have been a month. I think it was a month because I ran like a storyline or two, and I was, So I think it was about a month. I don't know, whatever, month or two. And when I went into that, I actually just wanted to do the landing. That's like the dream guruship, right? Because you get the most players active in anything you do, and it's fun, right? So and I'm not saying I settled for Ice Mule. That was my second choice. If because that one was taken, there's no way I could take it away. So there we are. We're Ice Mule. And then going into Ice Mule, it was like I had to dig up a lot of the lore and history of the town, and there's like a lot to it that I didn't even know about. So it's kind of like a cool experience for me just to kind of go through. Like, holy crap! You mean in '97 or no? When was Ice Mule built?
I have no idea.
I don't remember, but it's just like the whole history of it, how it became what it is cool. Pretty cool to go through. I did a lot of like little updates to code, like little quality of life things. Like, I went in and we removed the silver cost from the guard or whatever it was. Changed the guards to have random ambience and actually greet citizens differently. Or, the pawn shop to display values because the values weren't being displayed when people appraise stuff. It's like little quality of life things like that you can just do that aren't usually too difficult. Because like with any coding project, it's, if I'm just displaying something and I'm not changing any code, it's like, oh, great.
Yeah.
It's a win. So that's basically the nutshell of it. I ran like 2 stories and did like a lot of system updates before I hopped back off that team.
Into your current role?
No, I think I went to events after that. And then I jumped to systems.
Okay. And you mentioned this earlier as well, but one of the huge projects that you did, I think it was last year, was being the hero that we needed in in taking
or villain
on
to a lot.
villain that we needed and hero that we needed in evicting folks from unused player shops and then doling out new ones via raffle. So tell us, why did that need to happen and how did that process work?
So first thing I did is I went through almost every single player shop room and I looked at how long it has been since a player has visited their player shop. And it was something like, I don't know, 40% of the shops, the owner hadn't checked in within 3,000 days or some shit.
Oh my God.
So it's like there's a large portion of those player shops just wasting space that somebody could be using that's already an active player. So, just going back in and getting that rolling, I think was an important step, and that there was the biggest issue I faced was multiple people have gone into that code to just continue to change things, update things, right? And then on top of that, you have people who went in and tried to fix the system. So it's like I'm untangling an untanglement inside of a quantum entanglement.
Yeah, this is like Inception, but Gemstone Code player shop style.
Yeah, so I always made jokes about spaghetti code, and realistically, it's not as bad as you think, no matter how many times someone says spaghetti code, because in the end it's code and it's doing exactly what it was told to do. But when you look at somebody else's system, especially in this language, like you have to really reverse engineer from the ground up, the top down, the middle across, and like all over the place to get anywhere. So
you figured out all these people hadn't been there, and then where'd you go from there?
Then I had to do discovery basically and go through all the code and find out what was it going to be doing, what is it currently doing, and what should it be doing. And then I had to try to come up with a healthy balance between all that and then create policies that, somewhat made sense, that were fair to, subjectively fair, right? Because it was a committee-based vote. So, if I ask player A, they're going to say, I am completely out of line. It should have been a year of a player not touching their shop, and this should have been fine. And there's some people that said 30 days. If someone doesn't touch a shop in 30 days, they're not actively using it, get them out of there. So I tried to come up with like a compromise, a comfortable type balance of just 90 days, right? Of, if you don't touch your shop or pay your rent in 90 days, chances are you're not active and you're not going into your shop and someone else could be using it. And then on top of that, I was talking with GM Naus. And I talked to him about potentially doing some type of a query work where we can do remote sales, and that's now implemented in the game, which is awesome. So you can actually query all of the player shops across the entire game now, and that really helped with bring the quality of life to all these other shops outside the landing, because everyone's like, I want the landing shop. Well, guess what? You can look at shops in any town, and you can now buy from any town, which I think is great. So
it made those things that felt like you used to have to pay massive tips to people to go like buy you things in Illustum or whatever, and now you can just buy it yourself whenever you want using those guild or those bounty.
The runners,
that's what it is. The runners boost that no one ever uses.
And so the current state of player shops, I'm still at this point where I don't have the evictions completely turned on, right? So player shops are going into an abandoned state. Most are assisting getting them back open. But I do plan to eventually just turn that back on. And so people are going to be unhappy with me again. So just, letting everyone know, whoever's listening, it's going to happen.
The anger is coming. Now. Yeah, just real soon.
Bottle that anger up for me, please.
Yeah.
I need
it. And then at Retzer as often as you can in the Discord, please.
Yes. Also, give me prayer hands. Just prayer hands.
Yeah. Okay. And then the player shops are part of a lot of this stuff that you've done that's sort of general quality of life updates that I think feel good but aren't necessarily like big showy flashy things. So like, for example, we talked earlier about the first Dusk Ruin, you used to have to ride in a wagon to get there. And it took forever, and it was annoying, and it was this weird like forced time sync that didn't really make a lot of sense. And then you worked on, for example, like just making you able to instantly transport to any of those events, right?
Right.
Which I think, like, I take for granted, and I was one of the players that really didn't like having to ride in that wagon. So, that kind of thankless work, like, what does it feel like going through that? And then what are some examples of some of the large and small sort of quality of life work that you've done?
Well, I think one of the bigger things is we had this old system that was kind of like a cross copy from Dragon Realms. And that's what was running our box office system. So whenever you went and had to call, Chris in billing and said, I want to run Troubled Waters, and then they create the system, it'd go into a random database. Gemstone would then query that database, pull that down, and there's just constant problems with it. Like all the quests weren't functioning correctly, right? So I rewrote that entire system to make it so it all triggers off of a single item, the quest token. So now so there's no more having to call into billing. You just hop on, you buy the token, you go in, and now you can run all these quests, which I think a lot of people are enjoying and getting into now. Now, the same system that I created for that, I also started using for events, because before everything was done manually, right? So that means I would have had to been the guy there at exactly 9 o'clock and not a second later running a command to open all the events. Stuff like that.
That sounds terrible for everybody.
And deploying the portals. And I don't know if you remember events of the past like 5 years ago, but it would happen where we forgot to put out the portals, we forgot to bring back the portals, we forgot to open it perfectly on time, it was just 30 seconds late and things like that, right?
No, I can't even, there's no way I ever would have run an event or like a quest rather if I had to like physically call someone and talk to a human being. There's no way. And I think Chris in billing, lovely.
Yeah,
Chris is great. But I never would have called Chris to do this. But the fact that I can just like raise an orb or whatever, that's great.
Yeah, and there's a verb that tells you if a quest is in use or not. You don't have to worry about scheduling too much. There are some asks of, hey, can we create other instances of these? And those systems are so like statically coded in a sense that everything is set to so instead of using variables, it's saying, all right, this is sword A, and that's the sword A I use for the entire quest. Just poor example. Go with me on this one.
I'm with you.
So sword A, use sword A. And then so if I were to rewrite the quest, I would have to say use variable weapon and then assign that variable weapon to sword A, for example, right? Oh. So I would have to almost rewrite all those top down and then create multiple environments for it. And then so it's just like it would be a big undertaking just to do that. When I like to, we were talking about earlier, is just create new things, get more things into the game and instead of just the same experiences.
Yeah, so letting like two groups run Troubled Waters at the same time maybe isn't as important as doing whatever other super secret exciting project you're working on. Yeah. And so speaking of that, a little birdie told me that you are working on an incredibly exciting super secret project, and that you've been debating whether or not you want to give us a sneak peek about this project today. So what is this project that you have been secretly working on?
So this is actually going to be called the Open Sea Adventures, is what I'm working on right now. It's this concept that I drafted up right after I finished Rime. And as soon as I finished it, I drafted up 2-3 new quests. Like, well, boom, let's do this. Let's get more in the game. Whoa, we're on fire. Let's hit it. But of course, it sat on the back burner for a long time now because there's more important things to get done.
Like player shops.
Yes, whatever.
Yeah.
Come on, let me have fun too.
Yeah.
So here we are. This is my new fun project that I'm really excited about because it's like one of my dream projects outside of or after Rime, I should say, the one I really wanted to be working on. It's the Open Sea Adventures.
So so
jump in.
Yeah, let's jump in. So tell us, what is this idea? Open Sea Adventures. So are we talking open sea piracy? Are we talking oceanic exploration and discovery, or just cool, positive vibe, chill time with friends on the waves? What exactly do you mean?
So it's going to be an all of the above type answer. So the core concept is it's going to be in this remote port. Not going to release the name yet because it's just too cool. I'm going to wait. We're going to wait.
Okay. All right.
And then so they can go to this town, and using silvers, you can buy a ship, and these ships can be very expensive, right? So we're talking, just going to throw out numbers. Everything is subject to change on everything I'm talking about from here on out, right? Because it's in development, and some things I'll plan, in development, I can write up a cool concept. I can go top to bottom. I can get approvals on a bunch of stuff. But when you start to get into it and get through it, it just doesn't make sense, right? So there's a lot of things that will change and have changed in all my projects because of that. So these ships, the smallest one's like a sloop, and the sloop's going to be like 5 million, let's say. And it can go all the way up to like a man of war, you know, the biggest ship on the sea, and that's going to be 500 million. So what does that get you, right? I think that's the question. You know, the sloop's a very small ship. It's a single-masted ship. It's fast, but it can only hold a couple cannons. It can have a couple crew members, and that's it. And then you go up to like a frigate or a galleon or the man of war. In the man of war, you're holding up to 20 other players. You're going out on these big adventures, a little bit slower ship, tons of cannons. You're going to be able to engage in all these different things across the ocean. Now, what do you do, right? So we get in this boat. You can customize this boat, and you can go out on the ocean. So you're out on this ocean. You're sailing around. And the plan right now is to have PvE. So we're going to have like Krolven ships coming at you. I want to have Undead Rhyme ships coming at you. Just
yes.
Like, you know, like all these different types of ships. I want the Black Pearl to come after you.
Of course.
Just whatever. You know, Captain Jack Sparrow's out there.
Yeah.
I want boss ships. I want small ships. I want big ships.
There's got to be a Kraken somewhere in there too, right?
Yeah, there has to be a Kraken that will destroy your ship.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're going to go out in the ocean and you're going to battle these other ships. There's going to be boarding mechanics. You go into their ship. They go onto your ship and boarding you and try to destroy your ship. You know, if you lose, you get scuttled. You're going to end up back in town. You could end up in a prison cell on an island, you know, like with a bunch of pirates.
Yes.
You know, whatever. I haven't fully gone through it all, but those are all the different things I'm kind of like tossing around. And it's going to depend on what makes sense, you know, because there's the side of me, the real side of me that's like, I like to make things hardcore. I want it to be challenging. I want you to hate your life. I'm sorry, it's just what I do. And then there's the other side of me. It's like, well, is anyone going to have fun doing that?
Yeah.
I don't know, right? So it's like, I got to find the balance. Because if, like, for me, I want people to be captured, put in chains. I want them to be shackled. I want them to be thrown into a cell, sunk to the bottom of the ocean, you know, whatever.
Yeah. That sounds fun.
Island in Narnia, and all you have to do is like, you know, break out with a toothpick and then like fight swarms of monsters and probably lose again and again before you find like a rowboat. And then you're on the sea getting blistered and sunburned for the rest of your life. I don't know, you know, whatever.
No, I mean, when you said open sea adventures, I was thinking like tortured and then blistering in the sun in a rowboat for weeks at a time. That's what I thought of.
Or getting gloriously tan. I don't know. You know,
yeah, or both. Why not both?
Whatever.
Now, so these ships then you can ride on with other players, right? So like I could be the captain of my little sloop, and then I could have two of my buddies riding along with me, manning the cannons, or just hanging out, or both.
Yep. You can have different ship sizes, have a different number of players that are going to be able to go on it. There's going to be like the cannon roll. There's going to be multiple roles that are going to be on the ship. So there's going to be the captain, and there's going to be experience for each one of these roles. There's going to be like the boatswain. There's going to be the like just a regular swashbuckler type role where it's like, you know, you're going to get bonuses for combat, where the boatswain's going to get bonuses for repairs. So you're going to have to repair your mast, for example, or the side of your ship while you're in combat. You're going to have supplies in the bottom of your boat in the cargo room. You're going to have to go down and fetch wood to go up and like replank things. You're going to have to fix the sail, you know, or you're not going to be able to sail fast. I want to be able to have wizards on board that can cast wind-based spells up at the sails and may like propel you faster in the open seas for escape or, you know, whatever it may be.
And now if there are people who are lonely or antisocial or new to the game and don't have like a huge base of friends to play with, are they going to be able to still participate in the system in a competitive or fun way?
Well, you know, going back to the Rhyme example where I created a looking for group tool that people could be using, you know, there's going to be a whole new town associated with this, right? And there's going to be a tavern they can go hang out with within and like try to get onto a ship crew. You know, I really hope to have all those type of things available and the tools available to let other people participate. But, you know, at the same time, I don't want to make it easy in a sense that I don't want a level 1 to be like, I'm going to be a pirate lord. And they're going to go, you know, no, it's not going to happen.
Totally what a level 1 would do, you know?
That's
Stupid
what I would do.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But it's not realistic that they're going to have the money to do that, right? So
yeah.
Unless they, like, you get a whole army of them, 100 of them, but they want to all fit in one ship, I don't know. The customization of the ships is going to be fun, I think, because I want to be able to have, like, different materials on the wheel, you know, different colored sails. I want you to be able to fly a black flag if you want, or a pink flag. I don't know. More
fly your flag, man. You know, like whatever your flag is.
I want to see that freak flag. You know, I want to have like a crab on a mauve like setting, and you know, he's going to be raising his claw. That's it.
A rainbow cutlass in his hand. You know.
Yeah, I want dual unicorns just clashing on it.
Absolutely. Dueling unicorns.
I want to see everything possible.
Yeah.
I also want people to be able to name their ships and invite crew members. Within reason, please. I'm assuming I have to be some type of
opening up
filter
a
here.
whole can of worms here.
Yeah. So the what you put on the flag is going to be subject to alteration rules. What you name your ships can be subject to alteration rules. Stuff like that. But within reason. Let's backtrack a minute here. Within reason on all those other things as well.
Yeah. No. Go wild.
But I also want to see customization of like figureheads, So I want you to have the mostly nude mermaid on the front, or whatever, a kraken.
Tastefully nude kraken.
Taste like a French girl.
Oh, I thought we were talking about the kraken.
Oh, could be. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I want a tastefully nude kraken on the front of my ship, or a tastefully clothed kraken.
Yeah, I'm in. Sign me up.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, so more note on the customization. Each ship is going to be scaled upwards in terms of room size, because that's what we translate things to, right? So like the sloop's going to be like, let's say 5 rooms, and the man of war is going to be like 12 rooms, right? And then it's going to be equipped with more stuff, and then you're going to be able to upgrade the stuff on your ship. So captain's quarters, you can upgrade multiple tiers. Sails, you can upgrade. The whole strength, you can upgrade. Reinforce it, whatever it may be.
And so New Town, though, that's exciting too. So we're gonna have like a little a pirate port kind of like freewheeling place.
Yeah. So I would love to have the Tortuga of days of old, so we can all go through and just steal from each other, wenches, yada yada. But realistically, it just doesn't work. It's a tried and failed model in this game because people are crazy. They want to kill each other, and I can't allow it. Right? Otherwise. Yeah. That would be it. It'd be Roblar sitting king of the hill, just bodies all around him.
As it should be.
Yeah. You can't stop him. I can't kill him.
I that's why I'm friends with him, because then I can hide behind him.
Yeah, exactly. I got a bunch of people volunteering to work with me on this. So the people that are working on the town, I'm very excited for who is helping me with this project, because it's there's a lot of really cool and creative people as staff members, and particularly excited about this in general, this whole project. So it's going to be cool to see what they come up with, because I can try to say like, hey, why don't we do this, and this, but ultimately I want it to be theirs. I want those people to have like a creative vision on it, and like just empower them, right?
Yeah. Well, and if that's their skill set, right? Like this is the thing you're good at, and this is the thing that they're good at, and everyone should do the thing that they're good at really well.
Yeah, like Rhyme, I think I went through and I painted like 100 rooms, and I was so miserable. I was so unhappy.
Yeah.
Except for I made the dungeon in the royal chambers, and it made me really happy after doing that.
I haven't been there. Is there a reason why? Was it exciting?
Yeah.
It's risque.
There's a 50 Shades of Eben book in it.
Oh my God.
And like a bunch of like tools of the trade for someone that may practice in
the dark arts, as it were.
The dark arts.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the thing that I really want to be able to do, that I know at least one other player is going to really be excited about, is the idea of fishing on the open ocean on your boat. Is that going to be a thing at some point? It should be your first priority, but is it going to be a thing at some point?
So I would love for it to be a thing. I don't know, with how I'm coding the system currently, I don't think I can support it. I'm not going to say it's not possible, right? Because anything's possible with enough creative coding. But as of right now, I don't think I can make it work yet. But if you stopped at, let's say, an island, because we were just talking about ships earlier.
I was going to. So while you're out sailing, like, what can you do? You mentioned like boarding and combat, but I'm assuming you're also just going to have some time kind of like floating out on the sea and discovering things, right? Like, how big is this space that we're talking about, and how is that space actually going to work?
So the plan right now is I really want to have basically 999 rooms consecutively, 3 to 4 wide, all over the place, as like just this custom ocean.
How does that compare in size to other big spaces in the game?
So Rhyme itself, start to finish, is probably 160 rooms. So we're talking, so bear with me, that's not going to be 999 rooms of customized paint, right? Every room's not going to be different. So what I'm going to be doing is breaking it down into blocks of like 50. And then we're having a bunch of people work on ocean descriptions, right? So these ocean descriptions then they're going to be applied, and then I'm going to have different weather conditions as well. So if you're sailing through, it could shift to a storm. I want you to lose control of your wheel. You're going to get lost. I want the sail to rip. You're going to have to do repairs. It's going to be not as common, but I want that kind of thing to happen where everyone's going to have to react and have engage with the storm. And then at the same time, you're going to have like the flat days where it's just going to be your ship's going to go a little bit slower, not a lot of wind behind you.
So you may be in the same space, but it may feel different depending on the conditions that are there.
Exactly, yeah.
That's also, that's a creative way of making a big space feel even bigger, right? Or feel new when you're going through it.
Then when it comes to the islands, it's going to be a singular item that's going to be added in, right? So it's going to be, you're going to be sailing and it's going to be a randomized island instance. Picture war camp, right? So you're going to be going through all these different rooms and then there's an island. And then what are you going to do? Are you going to ignore it?
No.
I'm not. I want booty. I want to get up in that, and that's that.
And so then the islands themselves, are we talking like one room within that space, or they'll launch like a whole separate thing? And then what can you do on these islands?
So the current plan is to do something like akin to a war camp, right? So you're going to have something that's like, let's say 10 rooms or, 20 rooms at most.
Yeah.
Just something where it's going to be combat. You're going to be fighting your way to the end of it. And then there's going to be booty at the end. You're going to be able to collect and take that and then bring it back to the port town and get booty bucks, whatever I call it.
Booty bucks is what it should be called.
So the whole reward system is going to be toward the end of the process. Right now it's on the system level where it's just getting all this creative vision, everything that we're talking about internally to come together, right, and all work. Because once the system's together, the afterthought of, all right, let's also give them XYZ, the incidental or the silver, whatever it may be.
Yeah, and that was going to be my next question is, this sounds awesome and really fun. What kind of timeline are we looking at for rolling this out, at least initially?
It really depends on everyone involved with the project, including myself. I'm not going to say I can work on this every single day for the rest of my life, right, and finish it. If I have a lot of time, I can power into it. If the painters, the people who are designing the rooms, if they get caught up, we might fall behind there. But realistically, probably we're looking at I'm trying to get a rough system completed within 60 days.
Oh, that's a lot sooner than I thought you were going to say.
No, I mean, but a rough system doesn't mean a completed project. That means right now I'm trying to build the buying of the ship, creating the ship, boarding the ship, exiting the ship, and then storing the ship. That's what I'm focused on right now. Is just getting that base system together. And then once I get that's my phase 1. My phase 2 is going to be getting the ship out of the port, sailing the ship, returning to port.
Yeah, and then you've got to add in islands and what to do on the islands and weather and all those other things too, right?
Exactly. So there's a lot to the project. So the painting is probably going to be 60 days. I'm hoping on the system side I can keep up with that pace because we got some rock stars on staff that can get stuff done.
And so then for the player experience, when do you think players will first be able to get their hands on a boat, get their feet on a boat deck? I think is maybe the right term.
Question mark?
Yeah.
I could only guess, right?
And understood that this is you're not going to have your feet held to the fire here. We're just spitballing, thinking about it.
So if we're talking about a rough system that has most of the features together, the core system, right? Done within 60 days, then I would look at 120 day as a mark where I could probably have all the auxiliary components built into it. So 120 to about 100, 2 to 4 months is the timeline of when I hope to have something I can at least get on the test server and get a couple people's opinion on, right?
Cool.
So I'm big on letting people test stuff. I think it's an awesome thing to let people, if they want to be involved with something, and give an opinion, because there's a lot of stuff that you put out there and initial reactions is going to be, this is dumb. What were you thinking?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, I failed.
Yeah, well, and it's a lot better, I'd imagine, to get that while you're still in the drafting phase versus when you think that you have made a beautiful, shiny, polished product that you're ready to give to the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so the mechanics for ship combat, these are not going to be, is this going to be tied to skills or player level, or is it going to be some sort of discrete something that is like purely related to your skill within this particular skill set?
It's going to be unrelated to anything in Gemstone currently. If it'll either be something based around like random numbers, or it's a die roll, or it's going to be something tied to these skills that I mentioned earlier, where you can pick a class role. And that's where you have like a cannoneer, the swashbuckler, the boatswain, or the captain, right? And these different ship roles that you actually level up and get perks for leveling them up. That's my current plan, at least. I would love to see that come into play.
Yeah, and I could see an easy way of doing that where, like, if you've done 100 cannoneer runs or whatever, then instead of rolling like a 1d6, you might roll like a 1d10 because you are more experienced and have a chance at a better outcome or whatever.
Right, and then the people are going to be able to declare their roles, or I'm still back and forth on whether I want like someone to be like, all right, this is my role for this journey, or if I want people to be able to take on different roles on the ship. Because especially on the smaller ship, you got to be the jack of all trades, right? You got to go up and you got to repair the mast. You got to go over, and you got to shoot the cannon, you got to steer the boat. You got to do it all. You got to get in there.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like the idea of flexibility, but I also see the value in having people like specialize and get really good at one thing.
Yeah, because then it'd be more to do, I guess, in a sense, like where I'd be drawing it out where if it takes 2 weeks to finish a roll, then you can hop on the next roll rather than finishing everything in 3 weeks, whatever it may be. Right. So I really want to do like a reputation system too. I want to have combat missions, like a bounty board, kind of like what I did with Rime, where you can go up, grab a bounty, go out on the sea to hunt whatever type of ship it may be, or go to this island and fetch me booty. I want people to be able to capture the cargo from these boats they're going to sink. And then like the islands, I want them to bring it back and turn it in for like reputation rewards and have different things tied behind that. Now, as far as what that may be, I don't know yet. Yeah. We're not at that point yet. But just some things I'm thinking about. And I also don't want people to just go in and flex and just drop that big wad of cash and say like, hey, 500 million, give me that Man of War. Yeah. I want people to earn it, right? So I may tie or gate every ship type above a sloop behind a certain level of a captain.
Yeah.
And things like that.
It would also be cool if, and maybe this is just implied in what you said, but if there were different factions that you could work with, right? So like you've got the mean old like misanthropic pirate guys, and then you've got the rebel tribe that lives on the island somewhere, and then you have the official government or whatever, and like each of those has different different rewards. And that's obviously way down the line, and I'm sure that people smarter than me have already thought about what that looks like. But
I thought about doing that because I really want to have a combat-based guild and a merchant-based guild. The problem there is the merchant-based guild, there's not a lot to do unless you're saying go to the island and fetch me this type of cargo or something like that, right?
Yeah.
But I do want to have two different guilds, ultimately one for merchant-based stuff, one for cargo-based stuff. But you forgot to ask one of the most important questions of, does this connect to the real game anyhow? Can I sail my ship from Terrace to landing?
Yep. Can you?
I would love for it to happen. It's something I've brought up. I don't know if it's a thing yet, right? But yeah, I think it could be very cool. But if you could get on a ferry and sail, what is it, like 15 minutes for the journey right now, I think, Terrace to landing?
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome.
But, that's going to be a lot slower than that if you do it on your ship, guaranteed. Yeah. It's going to be like an hour journey instead. So, if players want to do that, maybe. I also haven't really decided, like, what happens if I'm out in the middle of the ocean
and you disconnect?
And you disconnect, or your grandma calls, you're playing while you're working, and your boss walks in, you all tab, whatever it may be, right?
Well, that's what triggers the sinking and then spending a week and a half rotting in your lifeboat in the open ocean. Yes. And you should have known better, because Retzer is here to make you suffer.
That's right. That's my job.
Yeah. Well, I think that sounds incredibly exciting. And then obviously, you've kind of touched on this, but once you get this core system built, if it can do all the things that you're hoping that it can do, there's a ton of space for this to grow, right? Like you could add a PvP element, or you could add like instance-based things that you access with your boat or you fight with your boat. You could do quests. Like, it feels like the future of this space is pretty wide open.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really the goal of it, right? Is I want to be able to create like this whole new world that's not necessarily a static life. I want to be able to have I joke around about it with GM Nals where we want to add in like maps from Path of Exile or something like that, or like a greater risk or something. It's something just fully instanced and awesome and crazy with room for growth. But if it makes sense, we can probably do it. And it's just we'll see. It's going to be exciting as we get toward that end of additions to it, as opposed to can we get it to work or not.
You also know that you're going to be, once this goes live and people hear about this, you're going to be absolutely inundated with messages and questions.
Suggestions.
Suggestions. Yeah. Have you thought about making the boats fly?
Yeah. What do you think about letting me be naked on my own figurehead? It's like, what? Why? Yes, of course you should be able to do that, but no, I can't do that.
Why? Yeah, you have the right to do that, sir, but it is not my goal to get that to happen. So then, looking forward, how are you hoping to grow as a game master in the next year?
Hoping to retire. Just do the real swan song on this one and just fade out. That or finish it and keep going. One of the two.
Okay. And then I always ask game masters if they could take on any project under the sun, what would they want to tackle? But it feels like you're kind of already doing that, right?
Yeah, I'm doing my dream project right now, so I'm kind of happy.
Yeah, so you can't retire. You just need to keep doing dream projects forever.
I just got to finish it and that's it.
No, finish it and then keep going.
You're cutting in and out. I think it must be static.
All right. Well, Retzer, thank you so much for being on Town Square Central today. I'm incredibly excited for what OpenSea Adventures is going to bring to us, and I'm sure that everyone else is too. But I really appreciate you taking the time to talk about your work.
Cool, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Now you're ready to sail for the Horn. Way, hey, roll and go. Our boots and our clothes, boys, are all in the porn. To me, rollicking randy dandy, oh. Heave a port, oh, heave away. Way, hey, roll and go. The anchor's on board and the cable's all stored. To me, rollicking randy dandy, oh.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. Thanks especially to Retzer for appearing on the show today. I'm excited to hear what everybody thinks about the forthcoming oceanic adventure that'll be coming to Atlanthia, and please don't forget to @Retzer in the Discord to let him know what you think about his idea. This show is supported by people just like you who love hearing it on Patreon. A special shout out to Eferup, Luktar, Lysel, Warclade, Hellman, Heather Ann, Lex Bubba, The Town Crier, and Conrash for being patrons of the show. If you want to support Town Square Central, help shape future content, and keep the show running well, please consider becoming a patron today. The link can be found in today's episode notes. That's everything I have for today. The world is a little crazy out there right now, so shelter in place, enjoy your nice little experience bonus, and it's likely going to get a little crazier, so stay safe out there. Catch you next time on Town Square Central.
Do we need a safe word, maybe?
Yeah, the safe word is going to be giant banana. Okay?
Or carrot. I like carrot, one word.
Giant banana carrot.
There you go.
Yeah. All one word, though, so you have to say it really fast.
Whew, like Busta Rhymes, I got it.
Giant banana carrot!
Oh, no.
I think I've already found the...